two instances that I was aware of. I only described one. I'd like to describe the other instance. The other instance, the committee staffer had asked us for all federal contracts related to Camp Roberts. That, again, is thousands of documents potentially, and we wanted to work with the committee staffer before we went to the federal government to ask for release of those documents, because even I am not the release authority. Those are the proprietary information of the federal government, and even we have to do a FOIA request of them to get those records, even though our soldiers are involved in creating them, in order to release them outside of the department. What we did is we went with the staffer to work with him to find out what the root cause issue that he was looking for. And it turned out, and this, by the way, is a great example of the oversight role of that committee and the legislature. He had received information that there may have been some improprieties, perhaps some illegal action in the way that some of those contracts were being let at Camp Roberts. Well, rather than turn over the source contracts to him and have him do the investigation, because he's not an investigator, he's not trained in contract law as far as I know, we instead linked him up. I immediately reported it to the active Army Federal Criminal Investigation Command, and they sent a federal agent out and telephonically had discussions with the staff member, got what they needed, and they begun an investigation. The investigation is ongoing, so I can't really comment about it further, but that's a case where the system worked. Did we give him exactly what he asked for? No. Did we solve the problem? I believe we did. If there is, however, any other information that that committee needs that Senator Correa or Senator Lieu has not made me aware of, or if they did make a request and my staff pushed back that I'm not aware of, I'll take those requests and we'll act upon them swiftly as we have in the past.
Okay, thank you very much. Senator Dutton.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, too, I want to join with President Pro Tem and other senators in thanking you and the other military personnel and the veterans that are here in the audience today. I want to thank you for your service to not only this country but to the state. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Let me ask you a question. I'm kind of curious. How did Governor Brown end up having you to appoint? I mean, it's not like, is there a field of 100 officers out, or does somebody just give him, says, yeah, this guy here looks like the guy that'll do the job, and we're proposing him for your appointment?
The way it works in a normal year for getting a new adjutant general is the governor will open up to applications from eligible officers. They have to be a certain rank, have so much service in the military, so much service in the National Guard, because you have to understand the National Guard to be able to run it. And from those officers, they make a selection. I did not apply for this position. After the governor reviewed the people that had applied, he did not find exactly what he was looking for. So he contacted people that he knew and trust that knew people in the National Guard, because the governor and I had never really met at this point. And I got a phone call one night in Afghanistan urging me to apply for the job. I had not intended to apply because I didn't think that I would ever be the adjutant general, and if it was, it would be many years down the road.
Does our process for determining eligible candidates for the adjutant general, is that something we should look at revising maybe? Is the field too narrow if the Governor Brown didn't have the right pool to...
In California, I believe, and well, I was in the California National Guard and I met the criteria, so I believe that system works. And in this case, there were two other candidates that the governor interviewed 3 candidates. The other 2 candidates I thought were splendid, well-qualified combat veterans, and as a matter of fact, I urged the governor to appoint one of them instead of me.
Okay, I appreciate that. Let me ask you, let's go on. I want to talk a little bit about money. And the proposed federal budget for fiscal year 2013 has a significant reduction to the budget of the U.S. Department of Defense. And obviously where I'm concerned is because of your responsibilities to aid us in disasters that partake here in California. I'm particularly concerned about because California actually is about 50% federal lands, so that creates some additional challenges as well. But what I'm concerned about is will that cut in budget, what kind of effect is that going to have in the reduction of the federal support? What kind of effect is that going to have on our programs? And how are you prioritizing the programs that you're responsible for?
Sure, Senator. Ultimately, the impact of federal cuts on the National Guard as it translates to the state's interest is potentially our ability to respond to state emergencies becomes reduced. We have less capability. In the current budget cuts that were announced by the President this week, it shows that for the Army, the United States Army is embracing the National Guard and intends to maintain the National Guard at its current strength levels, and there's even discussions of expanding the National Guard by making the active Army smaller and moving combat brigades in the National Guard because we're significantly cheaper than the active Army. That gives us here in the state more troops and more trucks and more capability to respond to disasters. Where my concern lies, and it's a rather grave concern, is in the Air National Guard. The Air Force has decided to go the other direction. Instead of cutting the active Air Force, which is more expensive, and moving newer aircraft and capability into the National Guard, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force has decided to slash the Air National Guard. Nationwide, they're cutting about 5,000 troops from the Air National Guard and something like 200 aircraft. In this round of cuts, California got saved. Our 129th Rescue Wing, which is in Senator Alquist's district, was on the chopping block, and I fought very hard in the last 2 months to make an argument to retain that capability here in California, because that rescue unit with a name like Rescue obviously is critically important for disaster response. But the fight will be on, that we will have to take on a political fight, engage our Congress. It's something that I'll be asking the members in the Senate to go help me with in order to stave off those future cuts.
Specifically regarding the mission of CAL FIRE, how do you interact with CAL FIRE in dealing with the tremendous fire problems that we seem to have?
Sure. We have a very, very close working relationship with CAL FIRE that goes back 20, 30 or more years. We work in an interagency environment led by CalEMA that brings the interagency partners like CHP, CAL FIRE, the National Guard together for training and exercises and planning. Specifically with CAL FIRE, we do annual certification of our helicopter pilots so they're able to drop water on fires. We also train with them for other emergency response because CAL FIRE gets involved in flooding and other disasters on how we can support them as they do their job.
Now, specifically regarding to the helicopter support, because I was on the Blue Ribbon Fire Commission, there was a problem with communications, and so the military's chopper force, air support, there was a problem in them communicating with CAL FIRE personnel as far as coordinating the traffic, and that was causing a delay in their ability to be able to be deployed. There was efforts to try to improve on that. Has that been improved satisfactorily?
We've worked quite closely with CAL FIRE. Where my concern is our aircraft are now equipped with radios that can talk to CAL FIRE. Right. We have some shortages, but we're working to fill those shortages in Southern California particularly. My concern is if we have a major fire event like we did in 2008, we don't own enough helicopters in the California National Guard to respond without bringing in helicopters from other states' National Guards or from the Marine Corps or the Navy. We have to find a path to get those aircraft equipped through federal funds so that they can talk on our frequencies. What we did in the 2007 fires with the Navy and the Marine Corps, they launched their helicopters. They couldn't talk to CAL FIRE. Our helicopter pilots could. So we teamed up a National Guard helicopter with a Marine helicopter, and our helicopter would lead the Marine helicopter in, talk to the CAL FIRE guy on the CAL FIRE radio, and then our pilot would talk to the Marine Corps pilot on the military radios to tell them where to drop the water. Not ideal, but it worked.
Yeah, what I'd appreciate if you could, I think all the legislators would, I'm sure the governor would too. Are you going to have some kind of a report that you're going to be able to give us that would indicate your readiness to handle things, especially with regards to the wildfires that we end up experiencing here in California?
I think the best way that we can do that is to show you. So as your schedule events or your permits or your staffers' time permits to come out when we can brief you in our headquarters, we can take you out to visit our units, see them training, see them go through readiness exercises like Senator Alquist has been pointing out that we should do, and see it for yourself.
Okay.
It's better than
I'd
any
appreciate
written
it if you
report.
would contact my office, and I'll help coordinate it with other
Absolutely,
members.
Senator.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what's happening with our troops when they're coming back, and what in your department and within the Guard and your responsibilities would have been some of the most successful efforts to helping returning National Guardsmen and women successfully, re-enter civilian life.
There are two main programs that I'd like to highlight. One is the Yellow Ribbon Integration Program, which is a nationwide program that brings returning veterans, their families, together with all of the services that are out there, representatives from the social services, the mental health services, the veteran services, the medical services, financial aid, job hunting, together under one roof to give the soldiers and airmen and their families briefings on what's available to them, and then actually link them up with the people that can provide them the help. The second program is the one that gets funded by Prop 63 that is extremely...
I thought this would be...
That's been extremely successful for us. We're the only state in the nation that has something like this. So this mental health care that we provide through that program, they call the California model. We have about $500,000. I think it might be $455,000 and some change. We hire 3 people, a statewide coordinator, and then 2 regional counselors. Since we've gotten that money, those 2 regional counselors have made outreach and contact with over 6,000 soldiers and airmen that thought they may need some mental health services. Of those, over 800 have been referred for follow-on and better care. And I will tell you with all assurance, that program has saved lives.
For any member of the press who's here or watching that hearing, consider this a press release from my office asking you to talk to the general in the department about the fact that $500,000 of Prop 63 funds are being used by the military department to save at least 800 lives. Okay? Thank you. Press release. Press release.
I actually knew the answer
So,
to that.
Thank you, but I'm glad you. Thank you.
Send more money.
No, it happens to be actually one of the good things that I think comes out of some of the things we do up here. We don't always get it right, but once in a while we do, even if it's by accident. What steps is the concern about education for returning military, and so what processes have you taken, or what steps has the department taken to evaluate its educational programs and to determine how sufficient they are to deal with the needs?
We have 2 main education programs, Senator. There's a federal tuition assistance program, and then also funded by the legislature a couple of years ago, we passed an in-house state of California tuition assistance programs. Both programs are effective, but my concern about the programs is whether or not they're being fully subscribed. And I have anecdotal evidence that in most cases we spend most of the money, and we spend it appropriately, and we have good internal controls. But my concern is the word getting out to everyone that might be eligible for that, for those monies? Are they getting the word? Is it getting out throughout the entire breadth and depth of the system, so everyone, particularly in those units where we have soldiers, and some of our Army units have unemployment rates as high as 40 or 50%. Those are the units particularly that I want to target to make sure that they're aware of those educational opportunities, particularly if those armories are in what would be underserved areas.
As somebody who was in the community college system during the Vietnam time, we used to have an extensive veterans programs within all the community colleges, and I know there's been a movement here of late in working with the governing Board of Governors of the community colleges to help get that reestablished. And I think they have actually been starting to do a better job. Are you actively working with community colleges and our university system to try to make sure that the veteran services are being made available?
We need to do a better job of outreach with community colleges, and we may need some help in doing that. Our focus has been on four-year colleges, predominantly because of the ROTC system, and we have National Guard officers embedded in several ROTC campuses across the state that assist us in both recruiting students to come into the National Guard, but also in taking National Guard soldiers that potentially could become officers and recruiting them into ROTC. But with the community colleges, we can do more work there.
Yeah, you might want to. Actually, we're finding that there's a lot of even students that have graduated from our CSU and the UC system going back to community colleges for skill development, or career technical education. My final question has to do with what steps the department has taken to evaluate the narcotics enforcement activities.
We have a very robust, as a matter of fact, the largest in the nation, counter-drug task force. It's federally funded. It's currently about 250 full-time National Guard soldiers on federal active duty. They support law enforcement year-round by providing what we call operational case support, where they help the law enforcement officers build cases against potential drug criminals. We provide marijuana eradication with aviation support. One of the big programs that we've been evolving into is that a lot of the drug cartels that operate in the northern part of the state and throughout the state are very destructive to our public lands. They bring in hazardous materials and chemicals. They shoot and kill the wildlife that wants to eat their plants. They do all kinds of damage. We work and send in soldiers along with volunteers from the Sierra Club and other organizations to restore the public lands back to their pristine environment.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dunn. Before we go to the public testimony, which I know will be extensive, I just want to explore one other area, which is a difficult area to discuss in public, but very, very important. And that is the issue of sexual assault in the military. And what you are doing as the chief commander for the State Military Department and the National Guard. Our former colleague, Jackie Speer, who is now a congresswoman representing the peninsula, has highlighted this issue. And the statistics are essentially these. The Department of Defense own 2010 survey revealed that only 13.5% of people who have been victims of sexual assault, which 90% are women, report the assault. 19,000 incidents of sexual assault were unreported in 2010 alone. In 2008, the numbers that are reported are even, or unreported but acknowledged, are even higher. The prosecution rates of sexual assault are alarmingly low. Only 8% of alleged sexual assailants were referred to court-martial or military courts. The DoD 2010 Workplace and Gender Survey reports that 67% of women are uncomfortable with reporting, 54% fear reprisal, and 46% of both men and women in the military believe that sexual assault was not important enough to report at all. Some of the reports we have point out specific instances, not in California, but throughout the country, where women have been essentially told that their careers would be threatened if they caused trouble. I'd like you to speak, if you will, to your view of how much this is a problem within the California National Guard, what you are doing to create a zero-tolerance policy for this kind of behavior, and what you are doing to encourage people who are victims to safely and freely report what happened to them.
Senator, this is an extremely serious issue that we have tackled very, very aggressively again. We have a fairly robust network of full-time and part-time trained sexual assault coordinators, and the mission of those personnel is they make themselves available and accessible to a victim of sexual assault that can report the assault to them, and they immediately get them into the proper care while concurrently ensuring that the chain of command reports the assault so that action can be taken either by civilian law enforcement or by our own criminal investigators and court-martial system. Since I've become the Adjutant General, we've concluded court-martials on 4 individuals that we've convicted of sexual assault. Now, what I don't know is how many of those assaults that are happening were not reported. Because in the report that you cite, what they did is they extrapolated data they compared reported incidents with soldiers that had reported through a confidential survey that they had been victims of sexual assault, and that number was much, much higher, and extrapolating to the force. We need to do the same thing here in California.
There's one key question, which to me is this. Among the findings that Congresswoman Spear has spoken about publicly is that the discretion whether or not to report, if you will, a claim of sexual assault rests with the commander on site, whether it be overseas or while on reserve duty in our state. Is it your policy as the Adjutant General to require a commander, when they get an on-site commander, when they receive a report of sexual assault from a victim, to report that up the chain of command so that you know about it?
Absolutely. And Senator,
is that in writing?
If we have not put it in writing, because I don't know if we've done it in writing yet or not, we'll ensure that it is in writing.
Well, I want to make sure that that is in writing,
right?
Okay,
absolutely.
And quickly, and that it is reinforced throughout your entire organization.
Now, one positive for the California National Guard, if you look at the statistics on the completion of training for sexual assault awareness and bystander intervention training, as well as the councils that we have to hold regionally to bring commanders together to discuss the issue periodically. We're one of the few in the states in the nation that on a red, amber, green scale, where green is good, we're one of the few states in the nation that's green. So we're in compliance with the federal requirements in this area, but I'll ensure that we do more.
Written policy, right? We can expect that. We can expect that within days.
The people that are watching are probably already typing it.
Writing it now. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Let us hear from the witnesses in support of General Baldwin. Sir, former Adjutant General, you're welcome to sit down or stand up, whatever. We have 2 mics. We've got the mic next to the General, and we have the stand-up mic over here. Again, the people, I know there are some people who have come a long way to testify, and so I want to respect that. And, you know, the request is for you to be thorough and brief at the same time, which is an art. But do your best, please.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members, I'll follow the Gettysburg Rule, which is no more than 2.5 minutes, since the Gettysburg Address is 2.5 minutes long. So I served here.
Name?
Major General Frank Schober, former Adjutant General, State of California, under a previous iteration of Governor Brown. I served with Senator Alquist. I was going to say daughter, but you're. Thank you. I think you're getting a gold standard here, and you've quizzed him. I think his role in combat is certainly well described and commendable. His ability to do administrative and legislative combat, I think, is also equally commendable. The National Guard, I thought, when I was on duty here, is still relatively unknown by the people of California. You have demonstrated today that you understand it and understand its value. And you've got somebody here is doing a great job for you. So you've got my written testimony. I'll let that stand as my testimony.
Make that part of the record.
Thank you. And Again, this is the best man for the job.
And thank you for your testimony and for your service, sir.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, and
Next.
not to make invidious comparisons with the state of New Mexico, where I now reside, but I'm impressed with the way you do business.
Well, thank
Celerity,
you.
integrity.
You're welcome to testify longer if you Very good.
Mr. President Pro Tem, members of the committee, Bob Purcell, Director of the Public Employee Department of the Laborers International Union. I'm appearing on behalf of our Regional Vice President Rocco Davis and the Business Manager of our National District Council of National Guard Dual Status Technicians. The laborers are proud to represent about 5,000 dual status technicians across the country, 850 here in the Army National Guard. A very quick story. We had a very serious disciplinary issue that a military technician lost his job. We brought it to Major General Baldwin soon after he was appointed. He could have rubber stamped a junior officer. Instead, he initiated his own investigation and agreed to abide by a third-party determination that resulted in the technician being returned to his position, which we were very, very grateful for. Major General Baldwin has been wonderful to work with. He has implemented President Obama's executive order on labor management cooperation within the National Guard service, and we urge his confirmation.
Thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Rules Committee, Christy Baumer representing the California Professional Firefighters, 30,000 men and women of the fire service, are pleased to support General Baldwin and encourage you to confirm him. I think you said in your opening remarks that you wanted him to instill confidence, and he has certainly done that in the fire service, understanding the collaborative role that the fire service plays with the National Guard as we seek to protect the residents of California. So urge your confirmation.
Thank you for testifying.
Mr. Chair, honorable members of this committee, my name is Sergeant Major Retired Daniel Morales, a veterans advocate, also a business owner in some of your districts. I'll just simply read what I've written here.
It's okay. Is it a long, lengthy statement?
No, it's just short to the point, Senator.
Go. Okay.
I strongly encourage the confirmation of Major Baldwin as the next Adjutant General for the state of California. He is a proven leader with the unique ability to lead our nation's largest National Guard.
Got slow.
Okay, I'm sorry. He has also been instrumental in rehiring veterans, embracing a diverse workforce, and create a climate of organizational change for the National Guard. I have had the personal and professional privilege and honor to work with Major General Baldwin in the position as the Sergeant Major for Plans and Operations Security, California Military Department, for 3.5 years. In that time, senators and members, under his leadership, the Guard has transformed into an exemplary example of professionalism within the J3 in the operations. Major Baldwin is the right leader for the right time to lead our California National Guard for all emergencies, operations, and the safeguard of California citizens. Thank you for this time, Senator.
Thank you, Sergeant Morales. We appreciate your service and your testimony.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. Artavia Edwards on behalf of the United States Army Warrant Officers Association Gold Rush Chapter. I previously submitted written testimony, so I will make my remarks brief. On behalf of the association, we do very much so support Major General Baldwin's confirmation as the Adjutant General. He has a very strong history of support with the Warrant Officers Association, and it's for that reason that we very much so support his confirmation. Thank you.
Thank you for testifying. We appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, Senators, my name is Neil Murchison. I'm a resident of Los Angeles. I'm a member of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for 33 years, Special Weapons Team. I was a team leader. My father spent 42 years in the Navy. General Baldwin here helped me tremendously with my sons. We talked to Senator Dutton here about going back to school, combat veteran, one in the United States Army, the other in the Navy. He came to me with a program, the California State Military Reserve Program. I volunteered. I followed his leadership. His leadership is what this state needs. It's what Los Angeles brings. It's from the sheriff of the county of Los Angeles. It's an honor to work for this man. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, members and sir. My name is Deborah Wade, and I've worked with General Baldwin now for over 20 years. And I wanted to come up and show my support today, as I am the first civilian that has been promoted into a director level at the department, and it shows the change that he's trying to make in our climate.
When did that occur?
A month after his appointment. So it has really changed the morale in my own directorate. Our civilians know now that there is opportunity for them to grow and to move up into management. And I look forward to working many more years with him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Woodrow Hood. I'm a retired Army warrant officer. I served with General Baldwin 27 years ago. I've known him that long, since he was a brand new second lieutenant with 2 weeks on the job. I was so impressed with him, we had a conversation on the first day we met. I told him, someday you're going to be a 2-star general. Well, there he is. I'm really proud, and as an old soldier, if I ever had to go into combat again with this man, thank you.
It's a high compliment. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Jackie Parker. I've spent 26 years in the military, 12 years active duty, and then the rest in multiple Guard units across the nation. In my experience, I was fortunate enough to fly 26 airplanes. I became the first woman test pilot in the Air Force and the first woman F-16 pilot in the Air Force, combat qualified. So in my experience, I have seen the great leaders and not so great leaders, and can testify that having great leaders have to have certain critical characteristics to kind of navigate through these various changes that the state of California is trying to get through, whether it's women in combat or gays in the military or military drawdowns or change in the mission. Our leaders have a lot to deal with, and in order to get through these, they must have tremendous integrity, great judgment, and most of all, they have to be able to hold people accountable. And that is a rare trait. It's a very rare trait. I don't understand it, but it is. And I think that the general here has shown and demonstrated over and over again that he has the backbone and the courage to make these changes. 2 of them in particular were direct appointments to the 129th Rescue Wing. That was Colonel Buteau and Colonel Magram. I have worked very closely with them, 8 years, very close with them, and I can attest 100% with great confidence that they will put the mission before self. They have great integrity, they have great judgment, and they will make those tough decisions, which they are already doing. They are making changes in the wing, and they will have encountered great opposition, of which I'm sorry, but it has to be done, as you know. So I support your confirmation.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Colonel.
Yes, my name is Major General Robert J. Brandt. I was a former Assistant Adjutant General and Commander of the California Army National Guard from 1992 to 1999. I'm a Vietnam veteran, 2 tours, helicopter pilot in 1962 and 63 and 1967. And my purpose here today is the same as the others who've spoken on the qualifications of Major General Baldwin. I support the governor's selection, and I honestly believe that of the officers I know in the headquarters, that there could not be a finer selection. And I heartily endorse him. And it's long overdue to have an officer like Major General Baldwin to be in the position he's in, and he will do you, each of you, the right thing. There's no doubt in my mind. And I also, as a combat veteran, know what he's been through and what his family's been through, and I support him 100%. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Major General.
Mr. Chairman, members, my name is Frank Ramirez, National Director of Governmental Affairs for the National American Indian Vets. I'll make it very brief. Strong support. Our National Commander, a 30-year veteran of the Army. I'm here on my own, but he also said make sure you come and support a good Major General, a lot of integrity and honesty, and we're 100% behind him. I'm a helicopter mechanic. I served with the Army National Guard, and we kept him flying. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Senators, my name is Lee Palmer. I first knew Major General David Baldwin when he was a private, and he was a member of the medical platoon of the 2nd Battalion, 159th Infantry, California National Guard. then and now. He showed integrity and the ability to make the correct decisions. Then and now, he had the ability to show integrity and make the right decisions. I've known him for many years since then, and I am very happy that he has been appointed to this position.
Thank you very much, sir.
Chairman, board members, I'm pleased to be here on behalf of General Baldwin. My name is Sergeant Major, very soon to be retired, Kevin S. Garrett. And I've been knowing General Baldwin for about 20 years. But more recently, the thing I think about him most of all is soldier. That's what comes to mind. He's a soldier. He's one of those people that not only say what he's going to do, but he goes out there and he does it. He gets down in the dirt with his soldiers and whatnot, and he does that. But what's more important is recently, the last couple of years I've been working with him, I am the state equal opportunity and also diversity person for the state of California. And I've had the opportunity of working with him. I know in April, the first thing he did was he got us together, myself, a couple others, and also Colonel Wells, and said, I want to put together a viable plan, EO diversity plan for the state of California, because we definitely need to make a difference. And I know that was the chief concern thing that he wanted to do. And I know he's made some changes, and I know we have a long way to go. But that's where it's hard at. I think he is definitely an accountable leader, and he's the right person for the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Major.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Ralph Kinsembi. I'm also a member of the State Military Reserve. I serve as a Chief Warrant Officer. I also am the commander of the GI Forum here local chapter, and I'm testifying on behalf of our chapter and the state. And General Baldwin has been given a difficult charge. We believe that he understands the mission and he's getting the job done, and we urge your support.
Thank you very much for testifying.
Senator, members of the committee, my name is Jason Palipoi Monga. I stand before you today as a retired military officer from the California National Guard, as an individual who has served under Major General Baldwin in every field grade position he has held, as a combat officer and one that's deployed to Afghanistan with Major General Baldwin. I would just like to tell you that one of my positions Major General Baldwin appointed me as, and it was for my qualifications in the civilian sector as an equal rights representative, was as the EOR for the 79th IBCT. That was quite some time ago. And he chose me because of my former position on the California Association Equal Rights Professionals as the District 5 representative and as the former Equal Opportunity Officer for the City of Modesto. And as his personal confidant, I can tell you without hesitation that I urge support for this nomination, that he is a man of integrity, and if you do not support him, it would be the gravest mistake you've ever made.
Wow. Thank you. Tell them like it is. Go ahead.
Good evening, Senators. I'm retired California Air National Guard Brigadier General Jeff Lawson. I was the staff judge advocate at the 129th Rescue Wing from 1988 through 2002. I served a tour at the Pentagon and the Secretary of the Air Force Inspector General's office. I have seen turmoil. I have seen organizations need to change. This organization has the right person now, and I have observed, because I've observed my wing, which I'm still involved with, the changes he's made at the 129th Rescue Wing, which are exactly the changes that need to happen and should be supported. It takes strength and steadfastness to get through the kind of changes and pushback you will see. He has it. I've watched him work at the wing level. He's the right man for the job.
Thank you.
Senator, my name is Sergeant Major Robert Mady. I'm the Command Sergeant Major, 1st 184 Infantry. I've had about 20 years plus in the California Army National Guard. Worked with General Baldwin on a couple different occasions for about 10 years of that. And I just wanted to be here to say the California National Guard is a very, very good organization, and I'm very proud to be a member of it. But in order for it to be a great organization, we need a great leader. And I absolutely believe that General Baldwin is that great leader. So I'm here to ask you to please confirm his appointment from the governor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Senators, my name is Command Sergeant Major Mike Winstead. I have 32 years of active duty service, 2 tours in Iraq, and up until 1 January this year, I was the senior enlisted leader of the California Army National Guard. The enlisted corps of the National Guard of any military organization is very important. General Baldwin will be the first to tell you that from lieutenant on up to major general, a good enlisted corps is what makes officers successful. He's embraced that concept. As a senior enlisted leader for the National Guard, I have access to all the top sergeant majors within the National Guard, and I can say definitely that we as the NCO Corps and as the senior leaders in the NCO Corps do support General Baldwin. He does many things. He takes care of soldiers. He has a training philosophy that saves lives. His training philosophy is not only going to save lives on the battlefield, but he is the type of person that will support our state. He told you in this meeting that the #1 priority of the National Guard is civil support. He means that. Every soldier in the National Guard understands that we are California's citizen soldiers. I urge this committee to please support General Baldwin and nominate him as the Adjutant General.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I ask everyone if they can to sort of name, rank, and serial number and your support, if you would, please.
Yes, my name is Patricia Rain Martinez, and I had the honor and the opportunity to be General Baldwin's executive assistant while he was Chief of Staff of Joint Staff. I fully support his confirmation, and he's a man of integrity. He has also taught me and encouraged me to go back to school, in which I listened to him. So I'm now in human resource management, and I just really think that you would make the right decision by confirming him.
The executive assistant to anyone in charge knows more about that person than anybody. So we'll remember your testimony. Thank you.
Kim Segura, State Fire and Rescue Chief for the California Emergency Management Agency, also representing the California Fire Chiefs Association. We wholeheartedly support General Baldwin for Adjutant General. We've had the pleasure of working with him, maybe not in his combat, but in our combat of protecting and serving the citizens and the rest of the residents of the state in all of their emergencies. He's been there. It's unprecedented, his support coming up through the years, and I've been there since he's come up during that time. And I will tell you this, he's a get it done. He serves with honor and integrity, and we fully support him.
Thank you, Chief.
Good evening. My name is Cecily Frost. I'm the Dean of the Oakland Military Institute. I am here on behalf of the Oakland Military Institute teachers, staff, and students in favor of General Baldwin's confirmation. He personally had a conversation with me when he first started last year and said that he took an interest in the students at the Oakland Military Institute. And I'm a firm believer that actions speak louder than words. And since then, he is a member of our school board. He hasn't missed one pass and review ceremony. He actually missed one board meeting on Monday, but that was to prepare for this confirmation today. So I am definitely in favor of his confirmation. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your good work.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Bob Gerber. I'm the chief of the Law Enforcement Division at Cal EMA. I'm a 30-year veteran with the state of California in public safety and emergency management. 2 of those years I spent under the dome here with Senator Campbell and his Joint Committee on Fire, Police, and Emergency Services. I've worked with every general at the National Guard, going back to Major General Frank Schober. I support General Baldwin. I am confident in his leadership. I appreciate his commitment and his support of the Law Enforcement Division programs, specifically search and rescue. And I'm also speaking on behalf of many of the law enforcement professionals, specifically the sheriffs throughout this state, to support this general, and I urge your nomination of him. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Good evening. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Susan Pangelina, and Senators, I am speaking as the commander of the medical group at Moffitt and also as a full-time California National Guard Agency coordinator for behavioral health, and as a recent returnee from almost 7 months of duty in Afghanistan at the Theater Hospital at Craig, where it's the busiest trauma center in theater for DOD. I fully support General Baldwin's nomination. Hope you confirm Major General Baldwin. Because of his demonstrated support of the soldiers and the airmen who come back from horrific events and environments, doubling nearly our staff that's assigned to help those soldiers and those airmen find care. So thank you for your confirmation, and he has my full support.
Thank you very much for testifying.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jason Redd, the 129th Rescue Wing Command Chief. Since December, I'm one of the changes down there. I'm a 22-year Air Force veteran. I'm a helicopter gunner, so I'm not real good at this stuff. But I will tell you this. 2 tours in Afghanistan with the California National Guard, Distinguished Flying Cross recipient, and a law enforcement officer in my civilian life in my spare time, where I dismantle drug organizations down on the southwest border in Arizona. I commute back from Arizona to here for one reason. I believe in the Guard and him.
Thank you. Succinct, very important. Thank you. Hold your applause, please. Thank you.
I am Pastor Mark Unger, First Baptist Church, Oakhurst, been a pastor 29 years. I am a military chaplain. I'm the headquarters chaplain for California State Military Reserve. And my wife and I drove 4.5 hours up today. We're driving 4.5 hours back to stand for General Baldwin. And I believe I can give you 4 things no one's mentioned. He's going to hit me if I say it. So I'm standing far enough away. Number 1, on my belt, I have the state duty phone. I have 24,000 soldiers on my belt this month and in the month of June. It's a chaplain hotline. Number 2, on this cell phone, on my personal cell phone, I have General Baldwin's personal phone number. If I have an issue with even one of 24,000 soldiers and I need my Adjutant General direct hotline, I've got him on speed dial. He picks up his phone. We take care of the issues. That's 1. I believe there's 3 other issues, and they're very quick. The next is, I did a celebration of life service for a very dear major a week and a half ago. General Baldwin was unable to attend. It broke his heart. But when I finished the celebration of life service for this dear 44-year-old woman, my thing buzzed, and it says, Chaplain, tell the name, first name, that I love him and send my condolences. Sorry I couldn't be here. That's from the Adjutant General over one soldier, one officer who lost his wife to cancer. And I showed that soldier, and it just blew him away. And they, back and forth, they texted right there. Number 3, and it's very quick, I bring something to the table here that nobody else in this room can bring. I gave my son. My son, Daniel Unger, gave his life 25 May 2004, saving 2 Iraqi civilians. In March of 2005, Daniel's commander put in paperwork asking the armory to be changed to call it the Specialist Daniel Unger Memorial Armory. It got shuffled and passed for 6-7 years. When General Baldwin found out that was the case, he called me personally. We put it together. A, it is now the Specialist Daniel Unger Memorial Armory in Visalia. B, he has on his desk a plan how to do this for other fallen heroes, and he's committed to do that to every fallen hero in the state. I represent Gold Star families, families who gave their best, their sons and their daughters. This is our man. This is the guy that's getting the job done for our living soldiers and for our soldiers who have given the ultimate sacrifice. I vote for General Baldwin. Hooah!
Chaplain, thank you very, very much. And please drive carefully 4.5 hours back, okay?
Good afternoon. My name is Pune Simpson. I first met General Baldwin about 17 years ago in graduate school, and I'm here to testify that in the last 17 years I've known him, his contribution to California has not been limited to the Department of Military. He has partnered with many of the agencies I've worked at to advance the services for all Californians, and I urge his confirmation.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Sergeant Tiffany Henry. I'm a member of the California Army National Guard. Briefly, I support the governor's decision for General Baldwin as TAG. I've worked for him in the past and have always been impressed with his passion for soldiers and families that support them. I understand and support many of the changes he's made. His desire to bring our organization back to a level of dignity and honor has challenged him to make some tough decisions. Decisions that, although unpopular, are necessary to bring the integrity back to this organization. He charges all of his personnel openly to be fiscally responsible and maintain a level of transparency to prevent replicating mistakes of the past. He identified the lack of diversity in senior leadership and as an issue, and is working diligently with the recruiting command, leaders throughout the state, and a joint diversity council to address the issue. He recognizes that it takes years to mentor and grow leaders and has challenged service members at all levels to mentor those around them. I'm optimistic his courage and integrity will lead the California National Guard back to a place of dignity and honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and Senators, I'm Charlie Simpson, the retired Chief of Law Enforcement from the former Governor's Office of Emergency Services. I've witnessed General Baldwin's leadership in action in emergency response from the civilian side for years now. I know that he has every ability in his leadership to bring the California National Guard to where it needs to be, and I support his confirmation.
Thank you for testifying.
Chairman, members of the board, Sergeant First Class Kristen Caldwell with the California Army National Guard, here to support the General. Since his appointment, he's made a huge change in the Guard. I work up at state headquarters. I no longer see the good old boy system up there, which I haven't seen in years. Though I'm young, I've been in for 12 years. He is ensuring a fiscally responsible National Guard. In the last 6 months, we have trained over 250 members, full-time members, on fiscal law, and that hasn't been done in years. So I'm the training person, so I'm tracking these these seats. He's working towards going back to the value-based organization that we used to be, and I commend him for that. It's a hard challenge, and I fully support him. Thank you.
Thank you for testifying.
Hi, my name's Major Kinsey Clark. I've been in the Guard for 17 years, and I've worked directly for Colonel Baldwin in 3 different positions for 6 of those years. I come up here from the San Francisco Bay Area as a taxpayer and concerned about the efficiency spending of our dollars. However, I'll just leave you with a quote that I believe embodies Major General Baldwin. To command is to serve, nothing more, nothing less. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, Committee, Sergeant Major Adam Walker. I'm the Vice President of the Sergeants Major Association of California, which is basically the voice of the senior enlisted members of the state. And we confirm the nomination of General Baldwin. He's done a great job so far. Thanks, sir.
Thank you for testifying.
Mr. Chairman, Senators, I am Harry James Courtney, Command Sergeant Major retired, former State Command Sergeant Major for the California National Guard. I am also the president of the California Enlisted Association, and we're here today. I'm here today to represent my organization to support Major General Baldwin's confirmation. I've also had the pleasure to deal with him and his lovely wife working in the Family Support Program while I was the State Command Sergeant Major up there. And I tell you, it was always a pleasure to speak to him, bring issues to him when he was the battalion commander, visit him out in the field. He was always there and had a can-do attitude. I want to ask you again to confirm him. He's a good man, good leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Hello, I'm Robin Umberg, and I'm a retired Brigadier General after 13 years active duty and 36 years serving soldiers. I'm not here today to support Major General Baldwin the man. I am here because I have a deep passion for our men and women in uniform. I won't take up a lot of your time, but I will tell you that it's very clear, he has the strategic vision, he has the leadership skills that he needs. Senator Steinberg, you said that the person that's going to know him best is his executive assistant. And that could be true, except I think that the person that really knows him best is the wife. And the wife of Major Baldwin, Pam, happens to be my executive assistant. So I have to tell you, I know this man's character, and character is leadership in action. So it is my moral and ethical responsibility to tell you to simply endorse, support, nominate the man. We got to get on with business. Thank you.
trying to draw boxes and arrows here to figure out who. I think we got it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mirwais Yalda, and I'm from Algrove, California. And I've been working as a linguist in Afghanistan for over the past 5 years. And I have worked with Major General Baldwin as his main interpreter in 201st Corps of A&E. And I have known Major General Baldwin since. And I know what it takes to be a great leader, and I fully support him.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's try not to show. Please don't clap. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Brigadier General Jack Hagan. I'm the former Commanding General of the State Military Reserve. I spent 6 years with the California Homeland Security Office. But I bring a different perspective. I spent 28 years of active duty as a Marine infantry officer. I've seen good, I've seen bad, I've seen it all. I was in Vietnam, Somalia, and Desert Storm. Well, what's important in this meeting today is not about pay records, it's not about old barracks, it's not about double dipping. It's about who do we entrust the lives of our children to. That's what's important. Who's going to train them? Who's going to take care of them? Who's going to make sure they have the best resources, go out the door in the harm's way prepared? Who'll take care of them when they get hurt? You got to have a man that's got ethics, who's got honor, who's got courage, who's got commitment, who will stand up and do the right thing. Not just what's right, but do the right thing. That's hard. That is not easy. He has courage. He has commitment. He has loyalty. Who would want this job?
We often ask that of ourselves.
Why would he come out of the desert where he was having fun? The last guy said they got in trouble. Leading troops in combat to come back here to fix this mess, because he has commitment to the state of California and commitment to his soldiers in the California National Guard. That's why he took on this responsibility, this awesome mantle of leadership. Robert E. Lee said, duty is the most sublime word in the English language. This is all about duty. He epitomizes leadership. Accomplish the mission, take care of your people, and be a man. I have 5 children, 2 are Marine officers serving their 3rd combat tour. I would entrust my children's lives to him.
Says it all. Thank you very much, sir, for your passion and your service. To everybody who testified for your passion. Yeah, that's the way to clap. Exactly. Very good. That's very good. Very good. You can. Let us now hear from the witnesses in opposition to the nominee.
Hi, I'm Ronald S. Clark. I was the federal auditor that you spoke of earlier. Not here in any way to diminish the general's achievements, what he's done, the service he's rendered. Here to set the record straight, answer any questions you may have. I appreciate what the people who have come before and said. I know this has been difficult for him to answer this question. I'm also myself a former member of the LAPD Secret Service and a former FBI agent. I know a little bit about crime, and I know about the crimes that I saw in this organization that caused me to leak those audits to the press.
What do you do now for the record?
I am a operations manager for a Fortune 14 company and an MBA student at Pepperdine via the 9/11 GI Bill. Thank you for asking about veterans benefits. So, I have no axe to grind. I wish this man no ill will. I just want to clarify some things relating to what you spent a lot of time talking about, the dual compensation audit and the student loan repayment program. with all due respect, I think the general mischaracterizes his involvement at the genesis of the surfacing of both of those events. I believe it is fair to say that the reason state and federal auditors did not work together are because of some of the roadblocks he himself put in our way as it relates to the student loan repayment program. The general was fully aware, as his wife was employed in the recruiting and the retention center, and she had a very close relationship with Duke and Lathrop that you also mentioned in your statements that also spoke to the press. Forgive me for my nerves. I know that this is a tough audience, but I've done this before. I have no dog in this fight.
Just go.
But I've spent 2 years telling your staffers and other members of the Senate Veteran Affairs Committee of what's gone on. It is very easy to do the right thing when you're in charge and all the eyes are on you, but moral courage is doing the right thing when there's no outcome guaranteed.
I want you to tell us what facts or what testimony from the general was mischaracterized.
With respect to the student loan repayment program, indicating that he had no prior knowledge, that he himself had filed 2 Inspector General complaints on behalf of that.
He said he had filed 2 prior complaints about the potential move to more expensive office space and about the retreat or party or whatever you want to call it.
That's correct.
Those were the 2 things, and he said he did not have knowledge of any improprieties regarding the incentive program or the student loan repayment program.
Correct. When I was conducting that audit in that luxurious office space, his wife contacted me personally, unprompted, where I was conducting that audit, and asked rhetorically, "Oh, you're working on that audit." My husband wasn't going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. That's a direct quote.
And touched it in what way? Why would he have?
There was an opportunity for him to sign a sworn statement when he was approached by the original whistleblowers, namely Sergeant Cody Lathrop, wanted to have the general sign a statement that he could send forward to surface the issue.
Notarize a statement, you mean?
Sign it. It's equivalent to a notary. You're signing the soldier that what is contained in that statement are the soldier's words and are facts that have occurred. It's like signing a traffic ticket. It's just, you're just notarizing that the facts are owned by the
So who told you? So you're alleging that Sergeant Lathrop approached General Baldwin and made the allegation about the improprieties within the alleged improprieties within the recruitment and retention office, and that he would not sign it.
I'm saying that General Baldwin's wife prompted Lathrop to go see her husband, and in that interim time, the general was not available. His deputy intercepted Lathrop, took him to another officer's office, and had that officer sign off on that document.
And who told you that?
Cody Lathrop.
Okay. Is that your testimony?
That is my testimony. Thank you. I'm sorry, you have a question, Senator?
Thank you.
Thank you.
General, I'd like you to respond.
First of all, I want to thank Captain Clark for his moral courage in standing up to blow the whistle. There was a lot of heat on him in the result of that. I was in Afghanistan at the time, and the prior leadership took him personally to task for doing the right thing. I was disappointed to find out that he had left the National Guard, and I was hopeful that someone like him would stay because he's the kind of guy that we need as one of our auditors. In regards to the thing he's talking about, every single thing he said is absolutely true. Cody Lathrop did go to my wife and ask her to contact me because he trusted no one in that organization to take his sworn statement. Under the military regulations, when you swear a statement as a soldier, you must get a commissioned officer in effect to notarize it. I was the chief of staff at the time, and the joint staff fairly busy. My wife sent Sergeant Lathrop over to my headquarters. I could not come out of the meeting. My executive officer did brief me on it. I picked someone that I trusted, made sure that Sergeant Lathrop knew that this was a person that could be trusted, and that person signed that sworn statement. That was the first time that I had found out about this impropriety, but him sending up that statement was what launched the federal investigation. So there's nothing more that I could do because the complaint already had been made.
So, what's the date we're talking about here?
June 25th, 2000.
Excuse me. No. Come on back. I'd like to get that on the record. Just that answer, please.
June 25th, 2010.
June 25th of 2010. And prior to that, you've already testified that prior to that you had no knowledge of what was going on.
I had no knowledge.
Okay, now, the fact that your wife, who's sitting in the front row here, worked for this, I don't know if you call it a division or unit?
Yes, sir. She was a contractor working as someone that helped people come into the National Guard. And she also, from at the active duty, she also transferred people to other states when they moved to the other states. But she never briefed me on, she knew that there was problems, but didn't have specifics, and never told me that there was a recruiting or retention scandal. Had I known, I would have interviewed those soldiers and gone in there and taken action, as I did in the other two cases.
Okay, next.
Senator, if I could add, June 25th, 2010, 5 days later, I mobilized to deploy to Afghanistan, so I was out the door. The investigation was on its way.
Thank you. Next, please.
Should I stand?
You're welcome to do either. Of course, you're welcome to sit. You're welcome to sit right here.
Thank you.
Of course. Please, Jay, if you could just take the mic and make sure you're speaking into it, please.
Hello?
Yep, you're good.
My name is Sergeant First Class Dani Sadiq.
How do you spell that last name, ma'am?
S as in Sam, A-A-D-I-Q. I'm a veteran of 17 years in service. I also am a combat veteran, and up until last year, I've suffered from PTSD. I'm undiagnosed. I did not realize I had this condition, and it's been a battle. Pam Baldwin and I are very good friends. I credit her for saving my life. It was her who went to the family readiness group because my spouse was deployed to tell her that she thought I was in trouble. I was extremely depressed.
What time frame is this, ma'am?
This was November to January.
Of what year?
Of 2010 to 2011. And I, too, was a member of the recruiting command.
Okay.
Okay. Pam Baldwin actually was the only person to have the courage to go to somebody to say something's not right. When General Baldwin took over, I was under investigation. I received a DUI. Yes.
I know this is hard, and I want you to take your time and be patient. I'm going to urge you. We want to get to why you oppose General Baldwin.
Okay.
Take your time.
Okay. I didn't want to oppose the general, and it breaks my heart to sit here. My concern is the leadership that General Baldwin chose did not give me due process.
So you were terminated?
I was terminated, and what I received was a 2-sentence paragraph stating the command reviewed it, I concur, discharge her immediately. I was further told that that would be my punishment, that I would lose my full-time position. My position was the initial active duty training manager for the California National Guard. I managed 1,800 soldiers through the training pipeline. I managed every issue concerning them. I was a subject matter expert to training sites, to the tag,
to home units, and to the National Guard Bureau. So I didn't know which regulations to use. My trial defense attorneys told me that there was nothing that I could do and that I could not appeal. I found out 2 days later, after they made that final determination, that they've now decided to remove me from the National Guard as a reserve component soldier. And they're using the same information to remove me, although they said they would not do that. They said my punishment would be to be removed from full-time duty. What concerns me is that there's a DOD directive regarding treatment of soldiers with PTSD. Without regard to my condition, without regard to how this has affected my family, keeping in mind that I did have a mate out in a war zone, it's very disturbing that I, as a soldier, didn't receive the respect and concern that I feel that a senior non-commissioned officer deserved. I never received counseling. There's no counseling in my packet. What I did see were letters of opinion about what should happen, but no one ever asked me my story. No one ever spoke to me about my condition, and no one ever utilized the DOD policy in reference in dealing with me.
Are you alleging that General Baldwin knew about your condition?
I have to assume that the general knew, because the letter says that I have read the packet, I concur with the command, and discharge her immediately.
Okay.
In fairness, I understand he's under tremendous pressure, and he has a lot. I don't know. He has to trust in subordinate people. I don't know if he knows my situation. I did not tell Pam because I felt it was a conflict of interest. I did not feel it was fair to go to her to speak about the situation, so I have decided to come here.
Okay. We appreciate you coming here. We appreciate your coming here. Is your case still on appeal?
I didn't know I could appeal.
Okay.
I lost my AGR position 90 days ago, and my reserve status is pending. I have an administration separation board coming up on the 3rd of March.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Okay. We hear you, and I take your testimony as that you believe that General Baldwin should have known or been more sensitive to your situation and done something prior to the termination. That's what I take your testimony to be.
Equal treatment. That's what I would want. I would want consistent following of the policy, the DOD directive, and I would want equal treatment.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to give that to the sergeant right there, if you would, please. Right behind you. There you go. It's okay. Okay. How you doing? Okay, our court reporter needs a brief break. I know this is going a long time, but it's an important hearing. And we'll take a 10-minute break.